Yo, what is going on YouTube? Jayo here, bringing you another MLB The Show 20 video, and this time episode 8, letter H. I know this is the one that you've all been waiting for. This is the one I've been getting asked the most, and the letter H obviously is going to be the hitting tips. If you don't know how this series goes, we've been doing one episode per letter throughout the entire alphabet, but we're started with the A, we're on letter H. All the links for the other videos are going to be down on the description below as well, so you can stay up to date with the series if you do enjoy it, if you do want more tips and tricks videos. So this time is going to be hidden tips. Now we're going to be covering a lot. It may be a little bit of a longer video than the normal, but I feel like there's so much to cover when it comes to hitting. That is when the people have the most questions, and there's just so many different areas that I want to touch on. So it may be a little bit longer. I just want you to, get at least learn something. If you learn one thing, we accomplished. Now, before we start, I appreciate you guys being here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 1K subscribers here on YouTube. Make sure to hit that thumbs up if you do enjoy it, and make sure the notifications are on so that way you do not miss another video in the future. Also, one thing to keep in mind, there's going to be some things that I'll say that it won't work for you, and you have to understand that there's going to be things that work for you that do not work for me. So the most important thing is going to be find what works for you. Now, if I say something that you think you want to try out, try it out. If it works, keep it. If it doesn't work, just let it go away. Pick something else. Find what works for you. Everybody's different. Everybody feels more comfortable in different scenarios, different ways. So you got to find what works for you and just go with that. That's the only way you're going to get better. That, and obviously practice. The more you play the game, the more you practice, the better. I started playing Diamond Dynasty in 17. I mean, I was average at best, right? I would make World Series here and there, but I wasn't a consistent World Series player. I played a lot, and towards the end of 17, that's when I started getting better. I was easier to make World Series. Then in 18, obviously the game was a little bit different, but we're making World Series every year. 19, we're making 1,000, almost 1,100 in rating. So it got better and better because I got to play the game a lot more. So make sure to play the game. That's the only way to improve. Also, challenging yourself. You have to make sure. We're going to be going over custom practice. Play it on legend, even though you may not be playing legend games when you go to ranked seasons, but it's the best way you speed up the bat to make sure you got the better timing. Smaller PCI is going to make you a better player when you get to the online games with the bigger PCI. So challenge yourself, and that's the only way you're going to be better. If you can play friendlies with maybe friends or players that are better than you, go for it. Doesn't matter if you win or lose, you just want to get better. Those practices are going to improve your game. Here you are. I do wanted to come by the Diamond Dynasty standings, lifetime standings. We're 52-7. Our batting average is 377. I think like if you're 350 and above, you're a good hitter. You got to think that a lot of the games are going to be played when you get to World Series and above. It's going to be playing Hall of Fame and Legend games. So it's very tough to keep hitting like 425, 450 like you may do in All-Star. So 377, I believe, is a very solid average. But just wanted to show you my credentials as far as what we've done here in MLB The Show 20 so far. Obviously, we've played a lot of BR. We played a lot of events, showdowns with that new fun mode that we have this year. So haven't been playing a lot of ranked seasons as I would like, or maybe you guys would like. But that's what we have so far. Here's our BR record, 210 and 55. Not terrible. As you can see, the average, this is exactly what I was talking about. BR is in All-Star, 467 average. That's almost 100 points higher. So it's going to be higher when you look at All-Star. So you got to take everything into consideration when you look at your numbers. If you want to see them and you want to compare them to what you've done in the past, make sure to think about all the games that you've played on Hall of Fame, Legend. The average is going to be a little bit lower, but 350, that's the goal. I think if you're hitting 350, you're going to be hitting well. You're going to win most of your games. So what we're going to be doing, we're going here in the main menu. We're going to go ahead and go to custom practice. What I like to do, I like to face the Yankees, not because I'm a Red Sox fan, but because they have Garrett Cole and Aroldis Chapman, Once we get there, I'll show you, but you'll be able to pick the situation, the pitcher you want to be facing. So I like facing Garrett Cole. He throws 100. You got Chapman, throws 102. So you got two hard throwing pitchers from the right and the left side of the dish. We're just going to go ahead and pick a team. I like to play with the legend teams. These three teams are going to have some legends and flashbacks and stuff. So we'll just go with, it doesn't matter. Let's go with the expansion era boomers. When it comes to the stadium, I usually play at Ship It when I play ranked seasons, like a lot of people do. So when in practice, I like to go to the stadium I play the most to get familiarized with what I'm going to be playing at, or most of your opponents are going to be playing at Ship It as well. So we'll go to Ship It daytime in June. I'll see you on the field. All right, the first thing that we're going to be doing here when we come in, we're going to go ahead and create play, and we're going to switch it to hitting. Obviously, we want to be hitting, and we're going to leave Garrett Cole there. Now, if we look at options, this is what I was talking about earlier. Make sure you're hitting on legend. That's the first thing. Legend, speed that bat up. It's a great way to practice. It's a great way to warm up before ranked seasons game. Now we're gonna go through the settings. When it comes to hitting view, I like to use strike zone. Sometimes if I feel like I'm struggling, I'll switch it to strike zone high. The reason why I think they're the better options when it comes to hitting view is because you're closest to the pitcher. You're close. There's not a lot going on around it. It's going to be easier to read the pitch. First of all, if it's going to be break, if it's going to be a fastball, whatever the case may be, and if it's going to be a ball or a strike. Strike zone high or strike zone. Now, some people have a problem laying off the low pitches, especially off speeds, when it's in strike zone because it's a little bit high. So what you do, if you switch to strike zone high, you get a little bit further out so you can see the difference, and it's a little bit easier to read those pitches low in the zone if you're having that kind of problems when it comes to reading the pitches. In play offense, it really doesn't make much of a difference. I usually I play it in high because it's easier to read the ball. I love dynamic because the dynamic, you can see the no doubt animations, but when it comes to competitive, it's better to be high. That way the runners, you can let the runners know what to do in advance, because you know, if you play MLB The Show, you know sometimes they get stuck in the mud. They don't know what to do. If you're seeing it from high above, you'll be able to read the ball and if it's going to go over the outfielder's head or not. When it comes to the hitting interface, there should be no doubt about this. I feel like with all the hitting tips videos that are out there, they're all going to tell you the same. It's going to be zone. You have to go to zone hitting. I used to play with directional, and I don't know how I did it. I started practicing zone, and it's so much better. You have control of the outcome more than anywhere else. So we're gonna go with zone. Directional is too wild. You have no control over it, or not as much, I'll say. Now, going over the PCI, the play cover indicator, obviously with zone, you're gonna have that play cover indicator, which you're gonna be controlling and you're gonna be tracking the ball with. This is gonna be personal preference. It has now in this MLB The Show 20, they added so many other options. You got the center, the inner, the outer, the color, the transparency, all of it. So when it comes to center, I'm using diamonds. I think I don't know, it's kind of like the best way for me that I've been trying all the other one. I think altitude, there's too much going on. Circles is not bad either. It's very similar to diamonds, but I'm gonna leave it with diamonds. When it comes to the PCI inner, I leave it basic. I don't want too much of that wildness like the Starfighter has and the baseball. There's just too different. Again, you're gonna go with your preference. It doesn't really matter this one's when I get to the fade out, because if I'm talking about the fade out, I have the inner and outer fade out. When the pitch is coming, I'm only going to have the PCI centered showing. The reason why I have the PCI center showing is because, as you know, this year we have 3 dots, and the 3 dots is the perfect zone, and that's exactly where you want to be. So a lot of people like just having like the basic here, the basic inner with just fading out everything else, and that's fine. It gives you a clear view, if you will, at the pitch, and you just basically have those parentheses like, and you're catching the ball in between. However, it comes to preference. Again, find the one that works for you. For me, I go with the diamonds because I'm trying to put the balls on those diamonds. That's the perfect that I'm trying to get. Either perfect grounder, line drive, or fly ball. Fly ball is the good one with the power hitters though. So the outer, I really don't have anything. The outer is going to be based on the vision of the player. It really doesn't matter. I'm trying to make it as small as I can. I'm going with yellow right now, kind of like the old one in the past. You can change, you can use the color you want, you can match the uniforms. It doesn't really matter because you're not going to be focusing on the PCI in itself. The transparency, I have it at 100 right now. I usually go it to lower it a little bit to 80, not to have it too loud, and then the fade out again, inner and outer, and you'll see how it looks for us. Let's apply the changes. It's gonna just look the 3 diamonds. Now, so this is a PCI. One thing that the first tip, if you will, that we're gonna talk about after the PCI settings and all that, a lot of people ask if Kontrol Freeks are good, and yes, they are. They make a huge difference. You have more control of the PCI. Here you can see I have the purple Galaxy. As you can see in this one, I also use the CQCs. I'm trying out the Galaxies. They're a little bit higher than normal or than the CQCs. I'm gonna have both of the links down in the description below. Make sure to check them out if you want. But it does give you more control of the PCI. All right, number 2 is the PCI movement. So we're just gonna be tracking the ball. We're just gonna be tracking the ball with the PCI right now. We're not swinging, we're just getting the timing down. We're getting the control of the PCI. You see a lot of people moving the ball or moving the PCI before the ball is released to make sure that you're loose. You wanna be loose. If you're here, you're kind of frozen and then kind of reacting, your PCI can be all over the place. So we're just tracking the ball with our PCI for now. What I like to do is kind of like avoid sudden movements, right? Like I want this kind of movement right here. I'm trying to swing at pitches that are gonna be in this area right here. I'm not trying to go all the way up or down or away. Those are pitchers' pitch. So you're trying to stay within as much as you can in the middle of the strike zone, right? So trying to do this movement, obviously before you can loosen it up, you can let it move all over the place. The best way I do to avoid the sudden movement is putting a little bit pressure on the left stick. Like if avoiding this movement, I'm putting a little bit of pressure. You don't have to press it down necessarily, but if you put a little bit of pressure, you have a little bit more of control with the PCI. That's one thing that I found when I was jamming my PCI down a lot. I was just doing this movement, but then I would just lock in as far as like very sudden movements. Like you don't want to have or very small movement. You don't want to have all of this going on when the pitch is coming. The pitches are coming in fast, so you're trying to avoid all those movements. Second one is the PCI placement, and I think that's like the biggest one. First of all, when it comes to preference, and that's the biggest one that people ask. I like to start it a little bit high. Again, there's 9 quadrants on the strike zone. There's 3 on the top, 3 in the middle, and 3 in the bottom. You don't want to start it too high or too low or too inside or too outside, because you want to be able to get to any ball that is going to be coming down. So I like to start it a little bit high, a little bit if you can, because a lot of the times in online gameplays, they are going to be throwing that high and in fastball. So in order to catch up to those, especially in the higher difficulties, you got to be ready for that. How are you ready? Having the PCI right there and just reacting to it. What I see the PCI as is if I'm the catcher, and I think this is one thing that is my biggest thing, that when I started seeing it this way, it was a lot better. So the PCI is like the catcher's mitt, the catcher's glove, right? So I'm trying to catch the ball with the PCI. I'm the catcher on my left stick. I'm the catcher again, the PCI is going to be the mitt, so I'm catching the ball. Here we go. Ball's coming. Oh, I'm catching it with the PCI. Now when it comes to the X, so always swing X. We shouldn't even be mentioning this. Circle doesn't really work. Power PCI too small. Swing X 100% of the time. But first of all, we got the catching of the ball down with the PCI. Now with the right hand, you're gonna be swinging X, and that's when it comes to hitter. So your left hand is gonna be the catcher. The right hand is gonna be the pitcher. So let's try this. We just struck out, but let's try this. So I'm catching the ball, and at the same time that I'm catching the ball, I'm gonna be swinging, right? There you go. We just missed the ball. The PCI was there. The timing, we'll get to the timing now. Most important thing is the timing. But if you don't have the PCI placement, it doesn't matter if it's good timing or not. You have to have the PCI placement on it. So going back to where the PCI placement pre-pitch or pre-pitch PCI placement, I like to start it a little bit high. A lot of people like starting it on the left side, on the inner side, on the lower side. It depends on what you like or what you prefer, what you're struggling with. If you're struggling with catching up to the high fastballs, I feel like the best way is to start it up a little bit high. and that way you're ready for them. Now, the only problem is that without practice, you're going to start jamming down on the pitches that are going to be lower in the zone. But you have to be ready. There you go. Good. You have to be ready to adjust. It's easier to read the pitches if you start the PCI a little bit higher. Now, obviously, you are going to be focusing on the pitcher regardless. Like you're going to be focusing on the ball and not the PCI. So you got to see through the PCI. But you can start a little bit higher if you're having troubles reading the pitches. If you started a little bit inside, you're already got the inner half of the strike zone covered, right? Where it's usually going to be the sliders. They're going to pitch a lot inside with the fastball, sliders to lefties. But it depends on what you get comfortable with. Now, if you're having problems, there's another one. Oh, we were early on that one. But if you're having problems with the jamming the PCI down, one thing I recommend that I think it helps if you don't have problems catching up with the fastball is starting the PCI a little bit lower. That way you're already there. You're already in the lower part where you're usually jamming, like I just did there. I usually don't do that one. I don't usually have that problem of jamming the PCI down, but you want to start the PCI a little bit low because you're already there. There's no way to jam it. Now, some people start it all the way down and kind of like work their way up. You can do that as well. As you see, if it's a high pitch, I got the PCI there, but I was a little late or very late. One of my favorite spots is to start it inside. A little bit inside. We already got that inner side of the strike zone where there's going to be throwing a lot. However, when the pitch is inside, and this goes talking about the time, when the pitch is inside, you want to be early because you want to be able to pull the ball when it's inside. If the ball's outside, you want to be able to go with the ball. That's the best way to be successful on those pitches. But it really doesn't matter. You're going to have good swing. You're not going to square every ball perfectly. It's just impossible. You're gonna get under some balls. You're gonna get on top of some balls. The pitchers move. The pitchers are gonna be trying to keep you off balance, right? But I was saying inside, if you started inside, you already have this cover and you know you have more time for the outside pitches. If the pitch is outside, you're gonna have a little bit more time to take the PCI there and go with the pitch, just like real baseball. So if you started inside and in the middle, it's going to be tougher to either jam it down or go up. It's a great way to kind of like control the PCI. Now, I don't like starting it outside. If you start it outside, it's tougher to bring it back down inside, especially for that high and in fastballs. It's very tough to catch up to a 99 right there. However, whatever makes you feel more comfortable, you just got to find what works for you, right? Again, the same thing, but whatever works for you, find it and practice it. Stick to it. Not only stick to it, because if you keep changing, you gotta get your body and your mind used to it. You gotta keep it, just make it a second nature. So I'm like starting it up high, and I'm guilty of that. I keep changing it a lot. Sometimes I'm like, ooh, I'm jamming my PCI. So what I try to do is go a little bit different. Okay, I'm gonna start it outside. That way I'm not jamming as much, and just find what's working on that day, right? But try to perfection one way. I mean, the other way you can do it, and a lot of people do it, is just reacting. The reaction for me is tough, and I've done it. I've been successful with it, but it's very tough. If you're just sitting middle and looking at the ball and just reacting, you can do it if it works for you. Again, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult to avoid the sudden movements. You want to be able that if you're in the middle waiting for the pitches, and the ball's a little bit high, you don't want to be like jam the PCI all the way up or down. So you got to make sure that if you're doing it like that, just reacting, you got to make sure that you have control over the PCI. Let's try it. I was late and I jammed it down, but it's tough when it's reacting. For me, I gotta be already ready in hitting position, which is why I started a little bit higher, and I'm ready to crush the ball when it comes. Now, when it comes to online gameplay, the number one thing is patience. You gotta be patient. You gotta read the pitches. You gotta see, like that pitch right there, that's a pitcher's pitch. You gotta lay those off. Wait for your pitch. Don't be afraid to hit with 2 strikes. You cannot be afraid to hit with 2 strikes because it's going to happen. It's part of baseball. You may strike out here and there, but if you're 1-on-1 and he throws a dot, I'd rather be 1-2 than hit a ground ball or a fly out like that one. That was 2 strikes. But you can't just be afraid of hitting with 2 strikes. It's better to be 2 strikes than a double play or a pop-up. You know, you gotta wait for the pitches. There's gonna be mistakes. It's just going to happen. Right now we're early on everything, so that goes back to the timing. Now when it comes to timing, if you're late on the fastballs, you gotta be thinking fastball at all time. Obviously you see the ball, you react to the ball, see ball, hit ball. But if you're late on fastball, start thinking fastball more. Look at the windup. Look at how fast that ball is coming. Try to get that timing down. That timing, you gotta see when releases and when you gotta be swinging. So like, let's try it. Timing. We're early, so I'm gonna try to stay back a little bit. So if we're early, we gotta sit back. If you're late, you gotta just be more aggressive or be faster with it. That's a good swing. I'm okay with that. That's a line out. We were kind of like all over it. Now, timing to try to catch up with the fastball. That's usually the biggest problem, is reading the pitch and trying to you gotta try to like outsmart the pitcher. You gotta know when the fastball coming. If you can read him, even better. If you know when the fastball coming, fastball counts, you be ready for it. Now see the fastball, but also you got to be able to adjust to the off speed when it comes, because it is going to make it easier if you're able to hit the fastball. For a pitcher, for a opposing pitcher, if you're hitting the fastball, they're already guessing. They already don't know what they're going to be throwing. So you got to be kind of like on those pitches. Here we go. All right, we got a little bit on top of it, a little early, but the PCI placement is there. You got to track the ball with the PCI. If you focus on the ball, just let the PCI find the ball. You're catching it. We're catching it with the PCI. We're the catcher and the hitter at the same time. All right, there you go. That's a good swing. The ball was down. It was a ball, but we put a good swing. We're able to get the PCI there, and it's good timing. That's middle low, so you want to be good. You don't have to be early or late on that one. We were late on that one though. All right, we've been doing a lot of talking. I got to do more hitting now. I got to do more hitting. We're on that one. We were squared up. We were early again. Still the timing a little bit off. Again, we'd rather be early than late. Now, talking about patience, if you make the pitchers work, if you're waiting for your pitches, and he's working, the confidence and the energy is going to start going down. So your PCI is going to start getting bigger when you're playing online. So make sure you get them to work. Let them throw balls. Let them throw strikes. Get that pitch count up. Foul balls off. That's part of a good at bat. If you're 2-2 and he's dotting, just foul those pitches off if you can. And that's where he's going to get the pitch count up, the confidence down. You got to obviously try to avoid the double plays and strikeouts. That's going to get the confidence up. But you got to make him work. Just make them work as much as you can. You're waiting for pitchers. You're waiting for hitters' pitches, not pitchers' pitches. So that's a nice double by Ricky Henderson. Good. I think we were on that one. Not going to show us. But yeah, find it. Let's catch the ball with the PCI. We're a little late on that one. And that one, I knew it was outside, so I try to stay back so I can go with it. Not sure why that's okay contact, but I try to go with it. I was just a little bit late. That's a hanger, and we're going to crush that one again. Early, squared up. Again, you rather be early than late. You want to be early than late, unless the ball is outside. That was middle down, so you can be early on that in order to pull it. If you square it up, it's gonna generate exit velos. That ball's crushed. Good. Looks like it's not gonna go. The runner's not moving. Oh, it is. Oh, he's just gonna rob it. Okay, that was a hanger. We were able to put a good swing on it. Should have been a home run. It wasn't. That's fine. But that's exactly what you want. You want to be able to put good swings on the mistake pitches as well. Now you're waiting for it. That was a hanger. Thinking about the fastball. We reacted to the off speed. We were able to put a good swing on it. We were good. Not sure why that was a no doubter. It felt good, but we were able to turn on it. Fastball inside, you got to turn on those. Fastball up, you got to go with that. But again, practice is going to be your best friend. Practice, find what's working for you. Make sure to focus on the pitcher. Make sure to focus on the release point. Make sure to try to time him down. The first 3 innings of each game, I try not to swing as much because I'm trying to see what the pitcher is trying to do, and I'm trying to get that timing down. Obviously, you want to be aggressive when the mistake pitch is thrown, but you don't want to be all over the place. You don't want to be swinging at balls. So the first 3 innings, the first time through my lineup, I'm trying to read my opponent and read the pitcher in itself. Every pitcher is going to have a different delivery. Every pitcher is going to have different pitches, different pitch speeds. So you got to know what you're going to be facing. That's a good swing. We're on that. That's going to be a single. That's going to be a single. But again, make sure to practice. Make sure to practice. Find what's working for you and go with that. When you're playing well, just go with that. Keep playing that day. If you're struggling, take a break. Take a step back. Take a 10-minute break. Go for a walk. Go for a drink. Then come back on it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys were able to learn a thing or two. Again, key points. Catcher is the left side, left hand, left stick. You're the hitter with the right one. You're catching the ball with the PCI. You're swinging it with the right one on X every time on X. Try to be early on inside pitches. Away pitches, go with it. Make sure to wait for your pitch. Make sure to wait for your pitch. Try to hit those fastballs. Those fastballs, when it's 95 plus, you're going to exit. You're going to generate more exit velos. And that's exactly what you want. Make sure to punish the off speeds that are going to be hanging. There's a lot of hanging pitches in MLB The Show 20. Make sure to crush them. Again, find your best settings. Find what works for you. And go with that. Make sure to just get those settings and get the way that you're hitting and perfection it. Now, it's gonna take practice. If you're struggling, just keep at it. It's a grind. It's baseball. It's the toughest sport in the world. So it's not gonna be easy. And honestly, I like that it's not easy. I like that it's a challenge. I like to challenge myself, and that's the only way you're gonna get better. Again, I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned a thing or two. If you did, smash that thumbs up. Let me know down on the comment section below if you want to see another part 2 of the hitting tips video. We can go over different pitchers, different scenarios, different situational hittings. We can cover some of those things. Again, when it comes to hitting, there's just so much that we can talk about. Let me know down on the comment section below. Also, let me know if it did work, if it helped you, and what did. Make sure to hit that thumbs up. You guys have been killing with the like button. Make sure notifications are on. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I appreciate you guys watching. This is Jayo, and I'm out.